Living life as a digital nomad isn't just getting your laptop out of the beach or going for a surf during lunchtime. It actually can be a little difficult. Abby and I have been traveling for the last 2 years and working full time as digital nomads. And from the outside, it looks incredible because most of the videos that we post are of our favorite places, of the highlights that we see. It's not that easy. In fact, there's the freedom, but also the loneliness, the cheap cost of living, but also the constant planning and the unexpected costs. And that's why today I thought I'd share the real side of this lifestyle, meaning the ups and the downs, the ins and the outs, everything that you need to know about becoming a digital nomad so you can possibly become one too, or maybe I'll persuade you not to. Throughout this video, if you have any questions, please leave them down below. And if you have your own experience as a digital nomad, I'd love to hear your thoughts and your opinions. If you have any solutions to the things that I've said today, then let us know in the comments and let's get into it. The first thing that I wanted to talk about today was the dreams versus the reality. And the things that you see online can really contort your vision of what it's like to be a digital nomad. But one saying that always sticks with me, and I don't think this is verbatim what it is, but you can't expect changing locations will change your emotions. And this is 50-50 true, okay? Because in reality, when we were living in Melbourne, the weather wasn't fantastic, we weren't close to the beach, and the lifestyle we were living, 9 to 5s, working every single day and then only having the weekend, was really not as good as the lifestyle we have now. But let's look at now, because if you look at our YouTube or if you look at our Instagram, all you'll see is us living a life of freedom, traveling around the world, experiencing the best things, and probably never working, really, which is so far from the truth. Because Abby and I, we actually do slow travel. We stay in one place or one country for at least a month at a time. We work pretty much 6 days a week and then plan to have maybe one full day off to do videos or YouTube videos. Some of the things that we struggle with is Wi-Fi connection can really stuff us around, because that's the only way we earn money, is we have to have good Wi-Fi. We definitely miss our friends and family, and we miss, having people around that isn't just myself and Abby, which she will agree with. We do love each other, but we spend every single waking hour together. And ultimately, sometimes you just need someone else to chat to. And for us, that's just a FaceTime call, because at the moment we're on the road and it's not often that we have too many friends with us. Some other things that take up a lot of our time is planning trips, planning visas, all of these sorts of things. Now, I have to be honest with you, I don't do a lot of this, and Abby does, because she loves it, which is lucky. I think a lot of people wouldn't enjoy that sort of thing, but she's really good at it, and it does take up a lot of time, because in order to have a great trip, you have to make sure you're in the right location, you have to do your research, you have to see where you should eat, where is going to be closest to the beach, what the best prices are, what time of year to go. All of these sorts of things can get in the way of a good time. Some of the mistakes that we've made along the way is booking places during rainy season, or even just booking the wrong place, like a place where there's not much happening and you've booked a whole week there and you're like, why did we come here? And then finally, one thing that's really important to us is maintaining a routine, because that's what keeps you consistent. What keeps you feeling good is having a routine. And this is just not possible when you're traveling around the world, because some places won't have a gym. Some places, it might be really far to get to the supermarket. So you kind of have to roll with it and be okay to be a bit fluid and do those sorts of things. When you're in the one place as a digital nomad, this is much easier. And that's why I always say to people who think about becoming a digital nomad to find a place that has your gym, has the best coffee, has good food, and the most important thing is that your accommodation is comfortable and it feels like a home. This is going to help you have the best time and want to stay. Now, the second thing I wanted to talk about was cost of living and money. And to do this, I want to talk a little bit about what Abby and I did before we actually became digital nomads, because it's important. At the start, we were both working full-time. Abby owned a gym and I worked as an engineer. And we'd saved up a little bit of money, about 20,000, maybe a little bit more, to move overseas and try this online thing. while we moved overseas, I still had work for 3 months as an engineer. That was a good cushion. And Abby had already brought over some of her clients to her own online fitness business. So we started by earning money already. This was so important because it really took off the stress for us. It meant that for the first year, we were pretty much fine to travel and to not really worry about what we were spending and our accommodation and all of that. And it gave us a buffer to try and create some other streams of income or grow our businesses so that we could go fully remote later down the track. There's a reason why I really want to hone in on this point, because at one stage I had stopped working as an engineer and I wasn't actually making any money. And Abby's business had only just started becoming online, and so the income that we were getting was not really that much money. And this meant there was a bit more pressure on us and we felt the stress. I was doing work that I didn't want to do, and that meant that it wasn't as enjoyable as it should have been at some of these places. You know, we were living in epic places in Thailand, Indo, all these awesome tropical islands, but a lot of it became a little bit stressful because we were thinking, will we be able to make this work and will we be able to make this our full-time lifestyle? And I think this is how a majority of digital nomads feel. And if you do feel like this, and you're watching this video, let me know below, because a lot of people will come with the idea that they will create an online business while they're overseas, and it's tough. You're creating a business from scratch, and in the past with brick and mortar businesses, most people wouldn't turn over a profit in like the first 2-3 years, and 50% of businesses fail. This is in Australia. So thinking about building an online business from scratch and trying to be profitable enough to support yourself overseas in less than a year is, you know, it's crazy. I mean, it's the beauty of social media, the ability to create a business that fast. But it is difficult, and it doesn't just take luck, it takes persistence. And I can tell you exactly how that looked for Abby and I, because when we started 2 years ago, I had a job for 3 months and I worked that job, and then in the meantime, I was trying to find a way to earn online. So I started doing high ticket sales, which was taking sales calls. And when I closed a deal, then I would earn a commission on that. And that was my first job. That was my first remote job. And I did start earning some money with that, but it was not consistent. Sometimes I would make a good amount of money. Sometimes I would make nothing. So it was really up and down, and I still didn't have that freedom that I wanted to work by myself. Abby's business was going quite well, but it wasn't earning enough to support the both of us full-time plus traveling. But this is where the social media aspect comes in, because as I was doing high ticket sales, Abby taught me a little bit about how to do social media, and I started posting on social media and growing my socials. The first thing I started was actually a faceless page, so I didn't even have to show my face. And at that point in time, these pages were monetizable. Right now, you can't really, because there's so much stuff out there. The chance of you making money off a faceless page is very low. And in fact, that's the reason why I ended up switching from faceless to face forward and focusing more on that. But to put into the perspective the amount of persistence that Abby and I did, was Abby was posting 2 to 3 times a day on her socials, TikTok and Instagram. I post, when I started my faceless page, I was posting 3 posts a day, every single day. And then the same when I started doing my face forward, my TikTok and Instagram, I was posting on TikTok 3 times a day consistently. And we definitely saw growth. I mean, I grew my first TikTok page to about 30K and started to get some pretty solid income coming in. But the amount of effort we were putting into it, it was like a full-time job, right? You're learning how to edit, you're, talking to the camera. I was doing sales calls, all of these sorts of things. It's stressful. It's a full-time job. It's not just, post a video and make $5,000. It just doesn't work like that. And in fact, I was not very good to begin with, I was pretty awful. It was hard to watch my previous videos because I looked scared, honestly. And so you're building up a skill and you're building a business, and all of these sorts of things go hand in hand, and you have to be persistent while you're overseas without any friends, with dodgy Wi-Fi sometimes, and all of this. And to be honest with you, it's only probably been the last 6 months where Abby and I have really felt the weight lift off our shoulders, where we can travel freely and not really worry. We can live the life that we want and spend money on what we want without feeling too stressed. So I hope that makes sense to you. This is a really raw video of my thoughts of being a digital nomad. So if you do feel the same, or if you have any questions, like I said, please leave them below. And make sure you hit a like and subscribe if you're liking this type of content. It'll really help us out. Now, before I get to the juicy stuff and tell you whether it's worth it becoming a digital nomad, I want to talk about what all this work led up to and the kind of emotions that it brought up as we were going, and my thoughts and feelings about anyone who wants to do it in the future. Is that there were times where we felt lonely and we needed to connect more. And honestly, it was extremely lucky that we had each other, because I was talking about this to Abby the other day and she felt the same, is that if we went and did this by ourselves, the likelihood of us lasting for the 2 years and moving around is pretty low. And you would really need someone else there to lift you up when you're feeling down, because that's the nature of life. You're going to feel ups and downs, and you do need people there to lift you up when you're not feeling 100%. And I can't imagine doing it without Abby, and I know she feels the same way. Not to mention, it makes everything to do with content creation way easier when you have someone to hold the camera and direct you or have a laugh with you. It makes it so much more easy. And I think maybe I'll just share a little tidbit with you about why we started a YouTube channel, because we were actually working so hard that we weren't seeing the places we were staying. And so we thought, why don't we dedicate 1 day a week to creating a YouTube, and then we'll make sure to go see the places, because we know we have to do it for the YouTube. So it really became a 2 birds 1 stone situation, and it ended up being a really fun thing for Abby and I to do together. So to wrap up this video, I want to talk about if it's worth it becoming a digital nomad. And I can say honestly that it is the best thing that I've ever done. It was the best decision that I've ever made. And I know that Abby feels exactly the same. We have done it for the last 2 years, and we've lived the exact life that we dreamt of. We wanted to travel the world. We wanted to be able to train in the morning, live on our own terms, go to the beach whenever we want, have coffee, have lunch wherever we want, experience new things, and we're able to do that, and that is our life now. And I'm so grateful to be doing this. I still have to pinch myself sometimes and remember that this is the type of life that we're living. And that brings me to my last point, which is a couple of pieces of advice that I would give to anyone who is wanting to become a digital nomad or do similar stuff to what we're doing. And to some people, this might seem a bit woo-woo, but it has really helped Abby and I with our mental resilience every single day. And number one is we do gratitude every morning. So we write down 3 things we're grateful for and really remember what we're grateful for. We also meditate every single day and make sure our heads are in the right frame of mind, which we found to help us immensely with how we feel and regulating our emotions, because mental resilience is just your ability to come back or bounce back when your emotions change or they, get heightened or you get a bit sad. Your mental resilience is your ability to bring it back to the main level, or to homeostasis, if you will. And then the other thing is make sure in each place you have accommodation that feels like home. And secondly, you go and do activities. Whether this is as simple as joining a gym or doing classes, this is how you're going to meet people. It's also going to make you feel good. It's also going to keep your routine. These things are key to being a successful digital nomad. Now, if you're not already doing so, make sure you check us out on Instagram here and shoot us a DM if you have any questions. We share all of our hot tips on the places we go. And also check out my last video on the top 5 cities that you can live in for under $1,000 a month. This is perfect for a brand new digital nomad. Cheers.